This video demonstrates the use of the ValidateData tool in the QA Tools menu of the toolbar. And this tool performs a series of presence-absence checks on the process data to make sure that all of the data sets that are required for the metric generation for CHaMP are actually present. And I want to make a big note here that there are other QA checks that should be done all along the way during processing, and we actually aren't able to check for all of those items at that time. These are just the presence-absence checks. So it's really critical that the crew leads and the supervisors review process data to ensure that the quality of the data is good. Examples of the qualitative checks that we can't really catch right now in the ValidateData tool include things like rod height errors, dams across the channel, coding errors, and poorly drawn channel units. So these are all things that you want to look out for during the entire processing of your topo survey, and don't just rely on the ValidateData tool to catch those items for you. So what I'm going to do is go through two scenarios, one showing the data that has been correctly validated, and then another run of the validation that shows a data set that actually needs some repairs. So to run the tool, I've got a data set here that has been processed through the Topo Processing toolbar, and I'm just going to go to the QA Tools menu, select Validate Data, and what we get is a screen down here that lists the name of the check or the item that it's looking for, the status, and then the location of that file, and then the remarks usually include the count of the number of features that are there. And if there's issues, then we would see some suggested resolutions here. So in this case, we've got green checks all the way down. This is similar to what you see in the data logger, meaning that all of these checks have passed. This check you can run at any time just by going to the menu and pressing Validate Data. If you've already run this once, then you can just press the refresh button here to update the results of the check. And you also want to make sure that the file geodatabase of the data set that you're working in is selected here. This will remember the last geodatabase that was done. So if this is a new survey that you've just opened up, you're going to want to navigate to the current geodatabase that you're working in. And if you have all of the green checks here and the remarks of the counts of number of features seem to make sense to you, then you should be good to go, and you're on the first step to finalizing your data set and being able to publish. Okay, so this is moving on to the second scenario where there are a couple issues with the data set. So I've now prepared that data, and we're going to go back up and we're going to run the ValidateData tool one more time. And this time when you run it, you see that the Thalweg and the centerline data sets are missing. And if we go over and we look at the suggested resolution, it says run the Thalweg tool and run the centerline tool. So this might be useful if perhaps you have set down the processing and you need to pick it back up again and you don't remember where you finished off. This might be one clue to help indicate where you left off the last time around. And I can just click on this push pin over here to auto hide it, which means it should disappear with my window, but I can just go down here and click on it anytime I'd like to reopen that and refresh it. So I'm going to try to resolve these two issues by running the Thalweg and the centerline tools one more time. So I'm going to go back to my Topo Processing menu, and I'm going to select Create a Thalweg, and then make sure that my proper geodatabase is selected and that the output database is correct, and I'm working in Hitch 4. And then just click OK and wait for the tool to run. And once I've generated that Thalweg, I can just click out of the menus. And now if I go back to my validation tool, I should be able to refresh that, and you'll see that one of those red lines has gone away. So we can do that same thing for the center line, and then we would be all caught up of having all of our checks validated for this database. And in the future we hope to add additional checks like this that will help more with some of those qualitative checks, but for right now we have to rely on the expertise of the crew leads and the GIS analysts to be able to help clean up all of those in-survey checks. And we'll be working more on that throughout the rest of the season.